Good evening. Welcome to our, this is May, right? Our May, man, we're getting towards the end of the year. Our May school board meeting. We're grateful that you're here. And we will call this meeting to order. We will have a pledge offered by Mr. Perkins, followed by a prayer offered by Mr. Clark.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, we're grateful for this opportunity we have to meet as a school board for the Shola District. We are grateful for the conditions that we meet under and the freedoms that we enjoy. We're thankful for those men and women who fight for those freedoms and who have sacrificed and made it possible for us to meet in these conditions. We're thankful for education, for the opportunity we have to serve the people of the Shola School District. We are thankful for our customers, who are the parents and the students of the district. We pray that thy hand will be upon them as they learn and as they grow. Pray that thou will be with our staff and help them as they educating the youth of tomorrow is very difficult and challenging at times. We pray that thou will grant them wisdom and understanding. We pray as a body tonight that thou will please help us to make wise, informed decisions that will be for the betterment of the community and for our customers, who are the children and the parents of this district. We pray, Father, that thou will help us as we look for answers, that we will be able to work in a spirit of cooperation, and that we will be able to express our ideas and our opinions in freedom and comfort, and there will be a spirit of community in this room as we discuss these important matters. We are, again, grateful for the opportunity we have to meet, and we ask these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ.
Amen. Thank you very much. I'll now entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item 3.2, recognition of legendary staff members. Mr. Housley.
Mr. President, members of the board, if you wouldn't mind going to the front, we have two wonderful staff members to recognize this evening, and we'll go ahead and have you come down, and then we'll invite Mrs. Jaramillo to come up.
Mr. Housley and members of our board, I would like to present you with Edwina Sandoval, now Truax. She got married. And so she is one of our teachers at Whipple Ranch, and she is amazing. I told her family she's kind of a big deal if they didn't know, and her husband says, well, we always knew, you just found out. But I said, no, I knew like within the first month this was a big deal. She stepped into some really big shoes. We had a really good PE teacher before. And but man, she just stepped in and she made this position her own. She came in with her own grace and her own wisdom and her own way of teaching, and she is a remarkable teacher. So here's what I wrote about her. I am pleased to have Edwina Sandoval as the legendary teacher for Whipple Ranch. Edwina is the PE teacher on our campus, and she works with the youngest Cougars at a variety of proficiency levels. And nothing is more fun than getting 5-year-olds to learn a skill. Edwina has opened my eyes to the possibilities of physical education and how it can be truly supportive to our academic curriculum. Her lessons are well planned, well implemented. She considers students' prior knowledge when planning, and she provides engaging activities. Not only does she teach at PE, she does a reading intervention group with our kindergarten students. She wrote a grant and was able to start a running club. And she has raised money for the American Heart Association with our students. When I asked her colleagues to describe her, words like impressive, thorough in her instructive, creative with how she teaches, fun were words that were used. And when I asked students, they overwhelmingly told me that they love Choice Day. I'm not sure what that one is, but it sounds like lots of fun. Edwina is conscientious, she's dedicated, she's an effective teacher, and she exemplifies the kind of teacher I would want my own child to have. And she is wholeheartedly a welcome addition to Whipple Ranch and to Shola School District. Thank you, girl.
President, I'd like to say something too. My son is a part of the Run Club, and it has changed the way that he looks at school. He got the shirt, the first marathon shirt, and that is his favorite shirt. He wears that as often as he can. He's logging his miles on the weekends and all that kind of stuff. He absolutely loves it. I very much appreciate what he changed. Nobody lash up.
All right.
All right, we're good.
Broken on front, so
We don't have that. I think we broke my camera. Probably did.
Mr. Marchant? Oh, Ms. Jackson, awesome. Missy, as you make your way down here tonight during the superintendent's report, if you wouldn't mind sharing with the board about your FBLA team, that would be awesome.
Okay. So I have Missy Goodman, and she is our FBLA and business teacher at Shola High School. And sadly, I haven't gotten to work with her for very long, but she is one of the most amazing teachers that we've had at the school that I'm aware of. And so what I did was I talked to a lot of different people to kind of find out what they thought. And everybody said basically the same thing, that all of the kids want to take her class, that her business program has grown exponentially from the time she was at the junior high to the time that she moved to the high school. She's been awarded with all sorts of accolades, and now she's got a big fat promotion that we should all be jealous of. So this is what I wrote about Missy. Missy is moving on to greener pastures after a long time with the district. She started her teaching career here at the junior high and then was recruited for the business position at the high school. While I haven't known Missy for very long, it became apparent very early on that she was an overachiever who was prone to not sleeping and overbooking herself. There was one weekend where she drove to Tucson for her FBLA responsibilities on a Friday after school, drove back to Shola on Saturday for volleyball, and then back to Tucson to finish the conference. She had kids making scrapbooks, ordered personalized blankets, created t-shirts, and embroidered jackets, all while running the Cougar store every morning and teaching amazing lessons throughout the day. The kids love her, the program has flourished, and her absence will be felt by all the students who signed up for her classes strictly to have her as a teacher. And that's true. Missy has received a huge promotion as the FBLA director for the state of Arizona. She will be working at the Department of Education and will oversee every FBLA advisor in the state. She will put her organizational skills to good use by planning all of the conferences and speaking at all of the CTE director meetings. SLHS administration would like to wish her well in her future endeavors and thank her for her service to our school and our district. Best wishes, Missy.
Thank you. Go ahead, talk about it now.
Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay, so our FBLA group this year did very well. They competed both at the regional competition and the state competition. And we have 6 kids that'll be representing Shola High School at the national competition this year in San Antonio, Texas. So the kids, we had, I think, 14 that actually were eligible to go to nationals, but 6 chose to go. So, and they had to compete in various areas like business law, entrepreneurship. We had a website design team. There's about 80 different events that they are able to compete in. So again, the kids did amazing. Every year they've been a gold chapter, which is the highest honor you can get. So I'm really sad to leave them, and they know that. And I hope that they continue to do good. And whoever takes my job, I hope they do an amazing job, because these kids are awesome and their parents are awesome. And it's hard to leave, because I've been here for like 17 years, and just to see the kids grow and to see the school flourish how it is amazing. And it's because of the kids and their parents and the support that we have here. And I want to thank you guys for the support you've always given them, because they couldn't do any of this without the support of you guys. So thank you so much. And I want to thank Chris. Even though I haven't got to know her very well since she's just been here a year, I want to thank her for everything she's done for us in the program and for her support as well. And Matt Weber's here from NAVIT, and I'd also like to thank him for supporting the kids also, because year after year, he is a big part of, helping us get equipment and helping us get these kids prepared and training that they need to be able to compete at the state level. And they've shown that over and over. Again, Show-Low is a good name at FBLA. So like I said, they've done a good job. And again, it will be hard to leave, but I hope that they continue on and they flourish. And I think they'll do amazing things. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Item 3.3, Matt Weber will provide an annual report on NAVIT. Mr. Weber, thank you for being here with us this evening.
You bet. Thank you. As Missy mentioned, NAVIT is always excited about helping our satellite district students go to national competitions. We budget money every year, and so we were excited to have a small part in helping out with that. Just a wonderful opportunity for students to participate not only locally in our state, but when they are eligible to go to nationals. It's just a phenomenal opportunity, and we support that every year. And we appreciate Missy and are going to miss her greatly. I, for one, at least will be able to see her at a state level regularly, but she certainly will be missed here in Show-Low. I've worked with NAVIT since 2000, so really she's been primary business teacher here that I've worked with over the years. So great blessing to work with her. And just continuing on there with our second slide there with recognition, I just want to remind the governing board that Calvin McNeil represents Show-Low Schools on our governing board. We appreciate him. He's very faithful, great asset to our governing board. And of course, we appreciate working with Chris Jackson and Christine Martinez here at the high school, and Ben Marchand, the principal. Just want to remind you that we are one of 14 career and tech ed districts in the state, and we were the first one to be organized in a rural area. So what I'd like to do is just skip over to that next page where it says 2 primary purposes of NAVIT. So this would be like slide 5. Just a reminder, we exist for 2 reasons. The first is to bring you that funding stream that you so desperately need. All of our districts need additional funding, and particularly the career and technical education level, because these are expensive programs. They're not cheap to run. And of course, secondly, for those students who have the time, we provide additional career and tech ed opportunities at community college. But the reality is most of the students, 90% of the students in this state, and certainly in our area, as well as Show-Low High School, 90% of the students out there, they get career and technical education right here at Show-Low High School in the programs. And I'll show you a list of that in just a moment. But let's go ahead and just skip to financial page, if you would, Greg. And let's just quick look at those numbers. So this is from 2001 to 2019. So what's exciting here, if you notice the difference between FY18 and FY19, you've got up about $46,000. What that means is you've got more students enrolling in your career and technical education programs. That says a lot for Show Low High School. Some of the districts I visit, they're in declining enrollment, both at large and in CTE programs. So we're excited that you're continuing to grow in the programs that you have right here. And so for FY19 then, that number is 366,289. So what that means then is that since Show Low joined NAVIT, we've brought $6.8 million into the Show Low Unified School District. So we're excited about that. And remember that that's based upon all the money that's coming back to your district, both in your quarterly payments. I like to paint the picture like this, is that for every student that you have in a CTE program, now keep in mind that sometimes your students take more than one class, but remember the state only limits us to capture one time. So even if they're registered in two different classes, for one time it generates right close to $1,000. And so of the money that you generate between what we send back automatically, and then we figure in our soft capital money, our 301 money that we help your students, your teachers in professional development programs, as well as the 9% restoration money, every district we serve receives back 95% of what they generate. We're proud of those numbers, and we're grateful for our partnership with Show Low Schools. It's just exciting to be in the classrooms here at Show Low High School. Lots of great things happening. And once again, most students, that's where they're going to receive their training, because not everyone has it in their schedule to leave for 3 hours a day. But for those that can, just go ahead and go to the next slide there, Greg. This is a list of your programs that you offer locally. And then go ahead and go to the next slide there. And then these are the programs that we offer through Northland Pioneer College. And so they have access to 6 of our 8 career and tech ed programs. So once again, we exist for 2 reasons. One, to bring these additional program offerings for those who have the time, but we're primarily here to provide that funding stream for you. So with that, I'd love to open it up to any questions that the board might have for me.
I just want to say it's a great program. Thank you for continuing it and making sure that it's a viable program for our. I think it serves a tremendous purpose here in Show Low. I think the students who are served by it are given a tremendous opportunity for their future. And I've had the chance through through my business or through my work life and daily life to be able to see what kind of people you guys are putting out there into the workforce, and it's great. I think it's much needed. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Appreciate that.
I just wanted to let you know, I got wrangled into hosting the local TV show called School Zone.
Oh, I'd love to come. I'd love to come. If you're looking for people to talk on your show, I did that last year. I did that the last time.
And that's exactly where I was going with that. Well, I was going to...
The punch.
No, seriously, I would love to come.
Yeah, I would love to have you on. I was going to let you know that over the last few months, I've had the opportunity to interview one of the counselors and then also several of the teachers. And it has been a great opportunity to visit with them and allow them to share with everybody exactly what the program does for the kids and the opportunities that it offers them upon graduation. And so it's been really great. So thank you very much for your participation, your help.
You bet. You bet. Just let me know. Let me know, and we'll get it lined up. I'd be happy to come.
I'll do it. Does he have your number?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got me in a cell. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming to see us.
Thank you.
Item 3.4, Superintendent Report. Mr. Housley.
Well, at this point, the spring activities are all winding down. We're 2 weeks tonight from graduation, a reminder of that graduation. It's going to be in the gymnasium, not on the football field. And we're going to be able to have that, and that'll bring the 18-19 school year to a close. We had some successful things. You heard about FBLA. We had successful opportunities in track and baseball and softball. You may or may not have known there was a heartbreaker for us in softball with the girls against our rivals. We traveled all the way to Phoenix to play them at 8 o'clock at night, even though they're just down the road from us. But Snowflake ended up being runners-up in the state tournament, so that's how close we were. And that game was 3-2 against them. Could have been different. Maybe should have been. I don't know. I'm not going to talk about officiating. But
you'll get fined.
I might get fined. But we are we're excited for the good things that are going on with our students today. We had Cougar Lane closed down a little bit, not for a real accident, but the high school had a simulated accident, and to be aware of distracted driving, and all reports were that was a great event and well received by students and staff. So we're excited for the things that are coming, looking forward to planning and moving forward. I'd also like to give Mr. Larson just a chance to report on one of the activities that he was able to attend. And
Thank you, I appreciate that. Stacy, I know you were there today, so if you had anything you wanted to say, you're more than welcome to. So today I had the opportunity to go to the high school and observe the music therapy spring recital and talent show. And it was held there in the Cougar Den. And it was, the children had the opportunity to get up. Some of them sang, some of them played an instrument. Some of them, one of them, to a song, did some artwork. Really impressive. And I found myself, I've heard the songs that they sang or performed hundreds of times in my life, maybe, but they never affected me like they did today. And this isn't the first one that I've ever gone to. I've been to others, and every time I leave there, I feel like I've just witnessed some of the choicest souls God has ever created. And I have to admit, I was a little emotional today and struggling right now just a little bit. It was, if you have not had the opportunity to attend that recital, I would encourage you to do so. It was great. The way that almost all of us, I imagine all of us, love music of one type or another, and the effect that it has on these children and the ability that they have to come out of their shell and maybe do things that they would never do and progress, I thought was really great. The instructors and aides, the paraprofessionals that work with these kids, it's so much more than this. It was really, they teach them life skills, teach them how to board a bus and some of the other things that they need in their lives. Go to the grocery store and be able to buy their own groceries and be a part of society in a way that maybe they wouldn't have the opportunity to if not for our program. So I wanted to express a lot of gratitude to the instructors, and I would like to express gratitude to Mrs. Gaskill for doing the musical therapy part of it, and then Mrs. Marsh for her oversight of that department and how successful it is. And truly, I felt like there was a lot of joy brought to those children through their performance, and then to their parents and family members, and it was really great. So I would recommend you get over to see that next year. when it happens. If you missed today, you blew it. You're not going to see it again until next year. Stacy, you were there. Did you have anything that?
I felt the same way. It's always inspirational to see them get up there
Very
and
much so.
how they learn everything, and they seem so excited to be performing. Yeah, great staff, great students. I always enjoy it.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to visit about that. Item 3.5, call to the audience. We have one person, Mrs. Houston. And remind you, we got about 3 minutes. Give us your name and who you are, even though we know you.
Okay. 3 minutes. I'm going to have to put it down. All right. So I'm Carrie Houston. I'm a teacher at Show Low High School. And I was grateful for the opportunity to come talk to you tonight about the increase in the teacher's salary. As you guys know, we worked together last year to get the state to give more money to the district to fund teacher raises. And they came up with 20% by 2020. This added $210.50 to base level funding, which then gets multiplied against our weighted student count. The board was awesome and went ahead and passed that along to go ahead and create to fix some salary inequities that were in the district. The state is providing more money so that we can get 5% raises in 1920 and another 5% in 2021. They're going to use the same formula they used to calculate the $210.50. So we're looking at about $165 million total that they have already appropriated last year to give to the raises. The governor used the average teacher pay with the intention to bring up some of the districts that were below average. That's us. We were a little below average on the teacher pay, about $3,700 for fiscal year 2018. So there were teachers that were being paid sometimes thousands of dollars a year below what they should have been paid. Those teachers who were loyal to the district through the years where there was no money for raises, the board and the district brought those loyal teachers to where they should be on the salary schedule as even as possible among peers, and then gave all a 10% raise. This year, though, however, we were given contracts that start to build those inequities back up. It's not really clear to us why we were provided with those contracts. For example, someone who is making $35,000 in 17-18 but should have been making $40,000 is only receiving a raise of $1,750, while their colleagues with the same experience in education who came in later to the district and were making the correct amount are going to receive $2,000. If the district is still using 17-18 contract amounts to calculate next year's increase, the employee that was loyal to the district will now be making $500 a year below their peer. And since raises are usually given by percentage, this inequity will continue to grow. Another concern that we have are the numbers presented to us at our contract meeting. They were off by hundreds of thousands of dollars from what was presented to us in May of 2018, and I believe you were presented the same numbers. That which is currently being reported by law on our district website, and that which is the state is reporting for our district. So those numbers were quite a bit off. The other numbers that we're concerned about that do not make sense is the difference between what the district says they're going to receive for the 5% raise in fiscal year 2020 and what they should be receiving per the funding formula that was appropriated in fiscal year 2019. It should calculate out to about $339,867.93. This is taking 105.25 times our weighted student count of 3229.149. However, at our meeting, the district indicated that they did have an $80,000 shortfall, which would indicate that they were receiving $143,822.95 for the state for the increase, and that would require a weighted student count of 1,366.489. So that doesn't work.
Mrs. Houston, you're a little over. Sorry.
Okay.
I hate to cut you off.
All right. Yeah, the $116,000 left over is what we're concerned about and what they were going to do with that money if we're not going to use it to fix that and keep that inequity from coming back up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming to talk to us.
And Mr. President, can I know under open meeting law we can't directly respond to what Ms. Houston brought to our attention, but I would like to ask if it's appropriate to staff to meet with her and discuss that, and possibly have at our next board meeting have a report on the discrepancies between the numbers that she has and that the business office has, so that we can be up to date on that. So.
Okay. Do you want to do that during future board agenda items, or duly noted?
We can do it.
We can do that. There has been a meeting between business office and Mrs. Houston already. There are the questions that she posed are in Mr. Schubert's possession, and he will has planned to respond to those in due time as we get through some of the other things that we're taking precedence, like the budget and other things that you have before you tonight.
Okay, great. And we can get an update at the next study session. Great.
Super. Thank you. Item 3.6, future board agenda items. Anybody have anything that they need to discuss aside from this one? Okay, thank you. Item 4.1, approval of overnight and out-of-state travel. Mr. Housen.
Mr. President, members of the board, there's a couple items here for your consideration. Mr. Marchant has asked for the approval of extracurricular overnight and out-of-state travel as attached to your board documents. He also has asked the FBLA club to go to the FBLA National Convention in San Antonio that Missy just mentioned earlier. That's June 27th to July 3rd. We also have Mr. Hull recommends the approval of the 5th grade teachers to take students to Friendly Pines Camp in March of 2020. That's March 25th through the 27th. He's well planned out there. That's you got to get in early with that one. So I'd ask for your approval of these overnight and out-of-state travel.
I'll make a motion for approval of overnight and out-of-state travel.
I'll second that.
Motion and second. Any other discussion on this? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item 4.2, approval of proposal to relocate EDP grades 3 to 5 from Nicholas Homestead Elementary to the junior high campus. Mr. Housley.
So, Mr. President, members of the board, I want to just take just a second, and Mrs. Marsh here is here for any other questions that you might have. EDP is basically a school within a school. It's a classification of a need that a student has. They have certain needs that the level of service is much higher than any other student that we might have on campus. And as such, the P in ED means private placement. So in a school that didn't have an EDP program, those children may either be serviced at the school, or they could have a day placement somewhere else in a private setting, or they may be someone who's a student who goes to a residential facility and has those services there. We don't have that. We have an EDP program at our school site. In looking at our numbers and looking how to best serve the kids in the grades 3 through 8, the recommendation has come from the special ed department, Mrs. Marsh, and the teachers who are involved with EDP to move the 3-5 population into the junior high. Not that they're in the junior high, but we have a building where EDP is. It's separate, but it's located on the junior high campus. There isn't a need for there wouldn't be any interaction between 3rd grade EDP students and the junior high kids in the general classes on the campus. And their day, as you'll note, will look a little bit different. They would start a little bit later. They would finish at about the same time. Because it's a school within the school, there's some flexibility on what their day looks like so that they can be successful in the school setting. And after much consideration, there is a document that's attached there that kind of gives you the plan moving forward. We would ask for your approval of this move to make that adjustment. There is currently in place, and there have been discussions with parents whom that would affect. And Amber Lynn Power would be the teacher, and we would also bring the teacher that's currently at Nicholas over to help support that too. So our ratios will be better. We'll have more support, and we feel like it's a good scenario. It's a win-win for all the kids involved.
Would all of these kids be in one classroom together? Is that how that works?
No, Mrs. Marsh can explain kind of the setting, the way that it would look in practice. Yep, please come on up.
We are very lucky that we have a facility. Those of you who have been here forever, it's the old wood shop. But the way it is actually designed, it's broken up into probably 2 separate classroom areas, you would say. But off of those classrooms, there's all these little offices from when it was the curriculum and special ed services. So that gives us the ability to separate the students by grade levels. Because this is a school within a school, as Mr. Housley explained, there's very specific requirements that the state sets out for us that we have to follow. So that also includes separating grade bands of students. So it would allow us to keep the students separated, but within those 2 separate classroom spaces, there's these other offices that we're able to, have a cool down room or a computer lab or different things. So.
One thing that we're finding and why we started even thinking about this is when you disperse services over the whole district and you just get little bits here and you stretch people, for instance, you take one of our mental health counselors and she travels from the junior high to Nicholas and then out to Linden, and then all of a sudden there's a crisis with someone at the junior high. She's got to fly back there. And it's a real juggling act, and this helps to consolidate some of those services so they're focused in one area where the students will need them the most, rather than being spread out so far.
These students require a lot of wraparound services, so we coordinate with maybe local doctors, change point services, so that allows us, and the mental health specialist, as he mentioned, very involved with these students. They all have individual behavior plans. So that very much allows us to focus our efforts at one site and provide all the services the students need, as well as support our staff.
Mr. Clark, did you have a question?
Oh, I was just going to say I was touring the schools as part of kind of my getting up to speed with the district and making sure that I kind of had at least a grasp of where the district's at when I first took office. And there was an incident at the junior high with the EDP program, and to see the response from our staff and from the principal, I think this is something that is absolutely needed, and we need to consolidate resources to better serve these individuals who have EDP. So with that, I said I moved to approve the proposed relocation of EDP grades from 3 through 5 from Nicholas Homestead to the junior high campus. I think it's much needed.
I'll entertain a second to that if there's no other questions or comments.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mrs. Marsh. Item 4.3, approval of extended school year program for special ed students. Mr. Housley?
In accordance with students' IEPs, specific IEPs have goals that need to be met. If those goals aren't met during the course of the year, there could be required for an ESY, which is called extended school year. And we're required to provide those services for those students. This year we have 2 students that would need extended school year, and this is the proposal to offer those services to them and this is in relationship to their IEPs.
This has to be held at Whipple Ranch.
Yes,
3 days a week.
Whipple Ranch is the only campus that we might have available this summer.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
I would ask for your approval at this time.
I'll make a motion to approve the extended year program for special ed students.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any further questions or anything? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item 4.4, approval of establishing district capacity numbers for the open enrollment students.
Mr. President, members of the board, at this time of the year, we always evaluate where we are with class sizes. We evaluate where our students, how many students we have, and different programs and other things like that, because we have to make staffing decisions. And at this point, we feel like our special ed department is at capacity and beyond in some cases. And so with that in mind, in front of you is an outline of numbers in which we would ask that you approve as caps on our current student population for special ed services. These are also related services. This would include all students who need special services, including speech, language, or anything like that, who would be coming from outside of our district. Obviously, we service all the students who live within our district boundaries, but this would close open enrollment to students outside of our boundaries in coming. Currently, I feel like our caseloads for our case managers are high. They're, in most cases, they're higher than they should be. And we're managing, but we can't continue to manage at that rate, especially if we have an influx of students from outside of the district. We're operating just north of 14% of our student population have a special ed need. And so we ask, that would look right now, we took our current numbers and just said that's where we're at. So that's 115 at the high school, 95 at the junior high, 60 at Whipple, 78 at Nicholas Homestead, 15 at Linden, and then we have 26 in our special ed preschool. That's 389 students for a total for our special ed population, and I would ask that we cap it at that for the upcoming 19-20 school year.
So these numbers are above and beyond whom we expect to service next year.
These numbers are exactly what our numbers are projected to be next year.
Okay.
That wouldn't exclude, if we have a student who's currently here with us and they're from out of district, if they put in an open enrollment paper to be considered in a timely manner as the timelines that were set out, and they said, we're here and we're coming back, they're still in these numbers. We're not excluding those that we're already servicing. We're just saying we can't take any new ones.
Gotcha.
And this isn't affecting the individuals who live within the district, right?
No, we service all students within our district boundaries.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion for the approval of establishing district capacity numbers for open enrollment students.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item 4.5, approval of memorandum of understanding between district and the Arizona Youth Partnership to provide services for the high school for the 19-20 school year. Mr. Housley.
Mr. President, members of the board, I bring this to you for your consideration. This recommendation is specifically for the high school. The Arizona Youth Partnership provides instruction that is an opt-out situation where students can opt to participate or opt out. They talk about things, for instance, about sexual relations and healthy relationships and things like that. It does require a mature audience at times. It's usually targeted for 6 through 8 and then secondary, but it is grade level appropriate. I bring it to you this evening for your consideration for just the high school. At this time, the junior high is wishing to move in a different direction.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the understanding between the district and the Arizona Youth Partnership to provide services for the high school for the 2019-2020 school year.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any further questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item 4.6, approval of the Wise Guys and Smart Girls programs for the junior high school for the 19-20 school year.
Pretty catchy name, right? The junior high is wishing to partner with the Wise Guy and Smart Girls programs for the junior high for the upcoming school year. This teaches, excuse me, life skill training opportunities offered to students to promote good decisions, choices for themselves. You'll see the flyer that's attached to your documents there. Parents may also opt out if they wish their child to not participate in this course. So it is a kind of an auxiliary offering. If parents choose not to participate then, or have their children participate, then they can certainly do that. You'll notice some of the topics there on the flyer that would be included in that. Enhancing self-esteem, sharpening decision-making skills, setting goals for the future, and strengthening family connections. We feel like this is a little more in line with what we're looking to formulate with our students at the junior high level.
Make a motion to approve Wise Guys and Smart Girls programs for the junior high for 2019-2020 school year.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
This is offered during the school day.
Yes.
Anything else? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item 4.7, approval of summer school offerings. Mr. Housley.
So to our excitement, but yes, dismay a little bit, we have to limit our summer school offerings this year due to bond construction. Most of our sites will have very limited access. And so the outline in front of you is what we will be offering in the upcoming summer from June 3rd to June 28th. The following things will be offered. KinderFit, that is for incoming kindergarten students, and that is in that time frame in June. So again, incoming kindergarten students who can participate that, and that's at Whipple Ranch. We will also have 1st through 5th grade ELL summer school for those students whose first language is something other than English, and that is at Whipple Ranch. We also have high school credit recovery using Edgenuity online program, and that'll be ran through the high school in more of a kind of a mixed on-site, off-site kind of an offering. And so I would ask for your approval at this time. I want to also point out, if you look at the flyer that's connected, you do have the KinderFit piece, the kindergarten readiness standards, also some flyers on there as far as the high school is for credit recovery. You'll notice that it will be $85 per half credit is the tuition that would be charged for credit recovery. Okay.
I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve summer school offerings as listed.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or anything? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item 5.1, approval of resignations, retirements, and terminations. Mr. Housley.
Mr. President, there's a number of those for you to consider this evening. I would ask at this time for your consideration in approving these resignations and retirements at this time.
I move for the approval of resignations, retirements, and terminations.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I have a quick question.
Yes.
When people retire from the district, what do we do to recognize them?
We will recognize those staff in our June board meeting here, and then they're recognized with individual things at their site.
Okay, the principals will do that. Get them a gold watch and all that stuff. Good. I saw the nod. You're on the record now, Mr. March. You guys are going to have to buy watches. Okay, that's all I had. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Just one thing for
I'm
me
sorry.
too. 100 years ago, or maybe just short of that, Miss Hathaway taught me.
She taught me too.
100 years ago.
She taught my wife, who's almost 100.
What a great asset she's been to the school district for a lot of years. And
yeah.
And when you talk about people that put in their tenure, she's been a great example of that.
I believe it's been 40 years.
40?
I believe. Am I off?
40. I might be north of 40, but
maybe I haven't been here that long then.
Yes. Yeah. You guys don't look old enough to.
Anyway, I just think that's great. Good for Miss Hathaway.
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item 5.2, approval of new hires and transfers. Mr. Howell.
We have the following for your approval this evening. Donald Coughlin as a sub bus driver. Eva Franco is Linden's second grade teacher. Hal Frost, Nicholas Homestead fifth grade teacher. Jennifer Fletcher, Linden fifth grade teacher. Madison Holcomb, Nicholas Homestead health tech. Dana Jim, Linden special ed at a 0.2 FTE. Vanessa Kinney, Linden fourth grade teacher. Cody Lark, high school math teacher. Stephanie Miller, high school attendance secretary. John Pop Ryder, a high school or junior high, social studies teacher, and Barbara Verkite, sorry about that, high school math teacher. Anthony Compton is a summer hire, and Teresa Gaffney is a summer hire to work with grounds and maintenance. I bring those for your approval this evening.
Make a motion to approve new hires and transfers.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item 5.3, approval of summer staff stipends and volunteers. Mr. House.
We have the following individuals, which is a long list. Can I not read them all?
Yeah.
That'll be available in the board minutes, and we can also make those available if you would like to know. But we do have a number of teachers with KinderFit, the high school Edgenuity credit recovery, stipends for MPC dual enrollment, special ed teacher stipends, extended school year, summer foods, and all the other head coaches and things that do things over the summer for your approval this evening.
I just have one thing to say. I have family members who are on this list. I don't feel that I have a substantial interest in it, and I don't feel that a conflict is that I need to declare a conflict, but I just want to make sure that the public knows that. According to state statute, I don't have an actual conflict of interest on voting on this, but just wanted to make sure that people knew that, so that if there was any questions or anything like that, because of the family members on there.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, so I have a motion. Did I get a motion?
I'll second.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item 5.4, approval of contract revisions. Mr. Housen.
As part of the approvals last month and the 0.2 at FTE at Linden, we need to adjust Susie Bray's contract from a 1.1 FTE to a 0.8 FTE to accommodate those changes that we made to share those services between Linden and Nicholas Homestead. So that is before you for your consideration.
I move for approval of contract revisions.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions on this? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 5.5, approval of the revised classified salary placement schedule for 1920.
I want you to, as we prepare for the upcoming school year, this is the revision that we've made to these classified positions. The salary schedule has been revised to separate two different classifications of paraprofessionals. One, you'll notice that there's a paraprofessional 1 and there's a paraprofessional 2 category. Now, a paraprofessional that would be classified as a para 1 would be a classroom paraprofessional who assists a regular ed teacher in a classroom in that kind of a setting. They pop in to help with a special needs student that's actually in the general population, and they service those students. Paraprofessional 2s, those would be classified as those paraprofessionals that might be in an EDP classroom or in a self-contained classroom where there's severe handicaps, quadriplegic needs, or diaper changing at with adult type students or older type students, situations that require a little bit different of a set of skills to accomplish that. So those are two that you'll notice that the para 1 salary range would be from $12 to $14 an hour, and the paraprofessional 2 would be $14 to $16. And I bring those to you for your approval this evening.
A motion for the approval of the revised classified salary placement schedule for 2019-20 school year.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other questions on this? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. 5.6, approval of classified staff for 1920 school year. Mr. Housen.
Mr. President, members of the board, this evening we bring to you the classified staff for 19 and 20, and we are a couple of things as we bring to, there's a large number of people on that list, but I wanted to bring for your recommendation also that not only do we approve them, but that we approve a 2% raise for these individuals moving forward. And then those parapros that would need to be reclassified into those two, para 1 or a para 2, be reclassified in those scenarios. We bring that to you this evening. Also, as a part of this, with staff that are currently under what will become the minimum wage rate in January. In January, it becomes $12 an hour. Those staff that are currently under that will experience their jump to $12 an hour on January 1st. So we bring those approval of the classified contracts with those pieces for your consideration this evening.
I'll make a motion for approval of classified staff for 2019-2020.
I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion or comments on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item 5.7, approval of administrative staff for 1920.
Mr. President, members of the board, we have outlined for you a list of our administrative staff for the upcoming school year. We bring them for your approval and recommend that the administrative staff, which includes the principals and directors, it also includes those staff members that serve in a capacity outside of the classroom in a certified role. We bring those for your approval this evening, but we recommend that the administrative staff receive a 5% increase this year. And please note, since my name is on here for approval of administrative staff, you can vote on mine separately, as I will not be taking an increase this year. So,
Mr. President, I'm just going to make the same declaration that I don't believe I have a conflict on this, even though a family member is on the list. So I don't have a substantial interest in this decision, so I wouldn't have a conflict according to state statute.
Yeah, thank you. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd move to approve approval of administrative staff for the 2019-2020 school year, excluding Mr. Housley, and authorizing them to have a 5% raise.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any further comment? We're going to, just to clarify, we're approving Mr. Housley as an administrative staff member, but not included in the 5% increase.
You can actually even leave me off because we are under contract for 2 years.
Okay.
So we're already under contract. Yep.
Okay. So you're not on there at all?
Yep.
Okay. Anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item 6.1, approval of second reading of policy GCBA-R, professional staff salary schedules. Mr. House.
What we bring to you this evening, we needed some clarification and some cohesiveness between practice and policy, and this is what this is for your first reading this evening. How does a teacher qualify for increases in pay by getting more education? And this clarifies that for each 12 years or 12 credits, graduate level credit above, they can get $1,000 increase. That does outline in here how that comes about. First, it has to be approved by their building administrator, approved by myself, and then they have to complete the courses and turn in their transcripts no later than September that shows that they can successfully completed. Also, just want to note that maybe I finish my master's degree in a year and get 36 graduate level classes. That would be phenomenal if you did, but we could not pay for all 36 of those all at once. It would be in 12 unit increments. So the first year would be 12, then they would reapply again for the second 12, and then the second school until they reach their 30s. So I bring this to you for your first reading, and we will bring it back next month for the second reading and approval.
I'll entertain a motion.
Go ahead.
I'll move to approve a second reading of policy GCBA-R, professional staff salary schedules.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thanks for catching that. I said that backwards. This is the first reading. The next one is the first reading.
Item 6.2, approval of the first reading of policy GCF-RB, professional staff hiring.
This policy is a policy that we revised just recently. There's one change as we had it reviewed that we just need to bring. It's just really a wordsmithing issue, but it could cause some issues if left the way it is. That's in our return to work policy. The second option that a return to work employee can choose would be to return to work with the district at 70% of the last contracted amount. You notice the first bullet point reads the district and employee will each pay 50%. That needs to read that the district will pay 100% of the ACR. The district doesn't push that off onto that employee. We pay 100% of that. So that is the change that I have for your consideration for the first reading.
I'll make a motion to approve the first reading of policy GCF-RB, professional staff hiring.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item 7.1, approval of intergovernmental agreement between the district and NAVIT for the 1920 school year. Mr. Housley, do you handle this?
Mr.
Schubert. Sorry.
Okay,
Do
so
that,
what we got for you tonight is the annual IGA that we do with NAVIT. This is the same IGA that we do every year. Our attorneys have already looked over it, have already signed off on it. So now it's just up for your approvals tonight.
I make a
No
motion.
change?
No change.
I make a motion for the approval of the IGA between the district and NAVIT for the 2019-20 school year.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item 7.2, approval of agreement between the district and Navajo County Special Services Consortium for the 1920 school year. Mr. Schubert.
Yeah, so again, tonight we're bringing to you the annual renewal of our IGA with the Navajo County Special Services Consortium. You'll see on the attached exhibits that we are looking at 160 days of an occupational therapist at $98,400 and 118 days, of a speech language pathologist at a cost of $72,570. So it's a little bit more than what we had with the previous year, but it's something that we need to go ahead and get approved tonight.
I'll make a motion for the approval of the agreement between the district and Navajo County for special service.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item 7.3, bond update. Mr. Schubert.
Yes, sir. So tonight I'd actually like to defer to Mr. West, who happens to be in the audience, who looks thrilled that I called him out on it.
Did he know about this?
I hope so.
He rolled his eyes like he didn't know.
Okay, for the bond update, Mr. President and members of the board, as you've gone around the district, for quite some time, we know it's under construction. The junior high right now is actually ahead of schedule as far as the inside construction is concerned. The framing for the new administrative offices is about 80% complete. This next Monday, they plan on actually taping the drywall. And they get ready to paint right after that. But that building itself, the interior is ahead of schedule. The exterior, on the other hand, is a different story. We've had that beautiful weather system that came through yesterday. We had the rain, the hail, the snow that come through. So we have some in the parking lot area. It's delayed just a few days, but other than that, it's still going well. Nicholas Elementary will be closed on May 28th for a bond construction. They have to take the APS power, which is currently on the inside of the building, and it has to be taken to the outside. So for the entire month of June, the building will be closed to remove that, reset that service, and then they promise that it'll be ready for football camp, who will be housed there in July. And then the high school's breezeway, they poured the concrete. Don Lusk's company has poured that pad. There were some discrepancies in the pad. It wasn't finished correctly. There's footprints and some other things, and they've removed that concrete as of yesterday, and they will re-pour that on Monday to make it right, to get the footprints out, and that way the district gets what we're paying for. It was not even a discussion. Mr. Lusk came out and looked at it, and he said, "This is not acceptable," and he took the concrete out. Linden Elementary School is doing well. They've got the connector in between the two buildings currently there. The office buildings themselves are going to come in. They canceled construction for this weekend, being it's Mother's Day, so they were smart, and they took this weekend off, and they'll start construction the next week to finish the inside of that building. So basically, once school is out, all of our campuses, the high school, the junior high, and Linden will be just full board construction all day long for the remainder of the summer. And that's also the parking lot extensions will be done during the month of June and July, with all construction supposed to be completed by July 31st, and then the district final walkthrough to get the lists of what needs to be repaired before they step off the site. I think that's it.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Appreciate your oversight on that.
Mr. President, members of the board, I just want to remind everyone that they can follow the progress online through our website. There is, in the bottom left-hand corner, it says District Bond website. And then they can click on that, and it takes them to a website that the contractors are actually managing, and they put pictures on, and they give updates on timelines and things that are on there. And I encourage the public to go there.
Thank you. I appreciate you reminding us about that. Item 7.4, approval of budget revision number 2 for fiscal year 2019.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Tonight we bring to you for your approval our budget revision number 2. This is a mandatory budget revision provided that we have to provide ADE every year in May. As you recall, in June and July when we proposed our budget, we told you that we proposed high with our ADM, just so we made sure we were covered for everything. We fell short of our projections, so this budget that's before you tonight for your approvals has about $600,000 of reductions in the budget. So we bring this to you tonight for your approvals.
I move for approval of the budget revision number 2 for fiscal year 2019.
I'll second.
I have a motion and second. Any questions on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. 7.5, approval of 301 goals for 1920. Mr. Housley.
Mr. President, members of the board, this is an annual thing that takes place. The group that created the 301 plan the prior year got together again with Mrs. Ramsey. They reviewed the plan as it was outlined last year. They felt like it was a good plan. They made some minor wordsmithing changes. You'll notice that this year it said something about uncompensated duties, and they didn't like that term, and so they adjusted that. It was sent out for vote, and the voting for that is in front of you, and it looks like the teachers have passed that as their 301 plan. So I bring this to you this evening for your approval.
Make a motion for the approval of the 301 goals for 2019-2020.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions on this discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Consent agenda. Mr. Schubert, you want to take us through all that, please?
Yes, sir. I'd be more than happy to. Tonight, we bring before you approval on the consent agenda, the ratification of our expense and our payroll vouchers, the ratification of our junior high, high school, and food service activities, revenues, and expenditures, the approval of the governing board minutes from the March 21st regular meeting, and approval of the following donations. Linden PTSO received $1,250 from Community Fast, and the Whipple Ranch Elementary PTSO received $1,500 from the Community Fast. Just as a side note, these go to PTSO because if they come into district, they become public funds and they can't be used in the way that the funds were intended. That's why these funds go to the PTSO. So we bring this to you tonight for your approvals.
Thank you.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Please express gratitude for the donations for
Absolutely.
us, please. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Thank you for being here this evening.